As the Boston Bruins get ready to take on the Montreal Canadiens tomorrow night, we're talking today about where exactly the new guys, Pat Maroon and Andrew Peeke, specifically fit into the lineup here down the stretch.
You're Locked On Bruins, your daily podcast on the Boston Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Bruins fans, and welcome back to the Locked On Boston Bruins podcast. I'm your host, Ian McLaren, and this is a daily show where we discuss all things Spoked B. Today is Wednesday, March 13th, and I want to thank you so much for making Locked On Bruins part of your day every single day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. The Bruins are off again tonight as they travel to Montreal to get ready for a tilt with the Canadiens on Thursday. Always exciting when the Bruins and Habs get together. We'll preview that one on tomorrow's podcast. But today we're going to talk specifically about Pat Maroon, Andrew Peeke, and how they might fit into the lineup moving forward. I discussed yesterday briefly my ideal lineup for the playoffs. Maroon was in there, Peeke not necessarily. But we'll get into that here in a moment. Quick reminder, you can find the podcast on social media at Locked NHL Bruins. And you can find me, my hockey thoughts and dad jokes at Ian C. McLaren. And speaking of social media, the Boston Bruins posted a hilarious video. Shout out to Elaine Cavallari for always hitting with the TikToks, the social media content. And it was a hilarious video with players kind of giving Pat Maroon some weird looks because it's so, let's just admit it, weird to see him in black and gold. Now, he won't be playing for a little bit here as he recovers from back surgery, but he's in the mix. He was dressed yesterday for the team photo shoot, and they took full advantage of this opportunity for this hilarious TikTok, which if you haven't seen, then please do check it out. Obviously, Brad Marchand, Maroon have gotten into it in the past, and the Bruins are really leaning into this villain turned good guy here by welcoming Pat Maroon. The video featured Maroon lip-syncing "Hey" and "How you doing?" Interspersed with some puzzled reactions from Marchand, Brandon Carlo, Hampus Lindholm, and it also gave Bruins fans a glimpse of Maroon in the Spoked B. So they're really leaning into the fact that he previously played, of course, for the St. Louis Blues in 2019, the Lightning, after that winning 3 cups, and that's the kind of edge and experience that they are hoping Maroon can bring to the Boston Bruins. Of course, like I mentioned, he is coming off back surgery that he underwent last month, but he could make his Bruins debut sometime before the end of March, and it could provide them with a boost that they need heading into the playoffs. Obviously, Maroon is a big guy, 6'3", 234 pounds, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, instantly brings edge, toughness, size, and that playoff mentality that the Bruins want to have down the stretch. Bruins head coach Jim Montgomery said he can envision on paper where Maroon might fit in the lineup, but you have to see it on the ice, see the chemistry before you can make those final decisions. I posited yesterday that I would love to see a fourth line of Jesper Boqvist, Johnny Beecher, and Pat Maroon, with Brazo and Lauko serving as the extra forwards. I say that because Boqvist has played very well for the Bruins, but they need that face-off guy that they can rely on down the stretch. Beecher has been one of their best face-off guys this season when in the lineup. He had been recalled when Charlie Coyle was questionable the other day. Didn't get in the lineup, back to the AHL, but I'd love to see him back up here for the stretch and into the. Montgomery added, the thing he knows about Pat Maroon is he's someone they can put in offensive zone faceoffs. He's going to set picks. He's going to go to the net front. He's going to get behind the net. He has an uncanny ability to make plays from behind the net and down low. Not only did he win 3 cups, he did so in 3 consecutive seasons, 2019, 2020, 2021. The Bruins have, of course, lost a bunch of playoff experience over the past calendar year, and they're hoping that Maroon's addition will help offset that. Now, all of this is contingent on him getting back healthy, getting up to game speed with the Bruins. Back surgery is no joke, and the hope is that he will be indeed able to get into the lineup before the end of the month. Prior to the back surgery, he had appeared in 49 games for the Minnesota Wild, 4 goals, 12 assists for 16 total points, which was more than he had recorded in 80 games last season. Of course, he's not known as an offensive weapon, although he did have 27 goals in 2016-17 for the Edmonton Oilers in a career-high season there, by far, 42 points. Again, the Bruins aren't bringing him in for his offensive abilities. In the playoff run with St. Louis, he had 3 goals, 7 points in 26 games. He had 6 points in 2020, 4 points in 2021. Don't forget, he also went to the final in 2022 with the Tampa Bay Lightning, where they lost to the Colorado Avalanche. So he was very close to 4 Stanley Cups in a row. Only appeared in 6 games last year for the Lightning in the playoffs as they were bounced by the Maple Leafs in round 1. But Maroon, get healthy, get that back ready, and get in the lineup to bring the Bruins some toughness that they need in their bottom 6. And I, again, envision him playing on the 4th line once healthy. What about Andrew Peeke? Well, we'll discuss where the defenseman might fit into the lineup here as the podcast continues. If you're like me, then you are huge into fantasy hockey, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper's our number 1 choice for daily fantasy sports, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid will record more or less than their sleeper projections for goals, assists, plus, minus, and more in a given game. You can do the same with goalies with respect to saves. Now, to win 100 times your bet, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. So get 100 times your bet on Sleeper. Sign up today using promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply, but that's code LOCKEDONNHL. Check out Sleeper today. Looking to level up your ride? Then you need to check out ebaymotors.com. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. eBay Motors has you covered. 122 million parts to choose from, and with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed or your money back. With eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. Now, the eBay Motors Guaranteed Fit is available only to U.S. customers on eligible items, but check it out. Keep your ride alive today at ebaymotors.com. They have all the parts you need at the prices you want. Thank you so much again, friends, for making Locked On Bruins part of your daily routine. Free and available on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel called Locked On Sports Today. Baseball fans, mark your calendars for March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern for the best MLB season preview coming exclusively to Locked On Sports Today. That's March 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be the first to get local insights from MLB experts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Find it on March 20th at 7 p.m. on Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Now, on the blue line, the Boston Bruins added Andrew Peeke from the Columbus Blue Jackets. He's a 25-year-old defenseman who was a regular contributor for the Blue Jackets over the last few seasons. He played 162 out of 164 games in Columbus from 2021 to 2023, averaging 21 minutes and 22 seconds of ice time. This year, though, was a bit of a different story. Even with Columbus kind of on the bottom and doing a rebuild, Peeke appeared in only 23 games for them this season, with 15 minutes and 37 seconds of ice time. He signed through 2025-26 at $2.75 million. And there were even reports that he was viewed as a potential buyout candidate this summer. But the Bruins stepped in. They believe he's worth the investment. They sent a first-round pick from 2015, Jakub Zboril, to Columbus, along with a third-round pick in 2027, in the hopes that Peeke will regain his form with Boston and provide decent value over the next couple of years as well. Don't forget they have a couple pending unrestricted free agents in Andrew Forbort, Matt Grzelcyk. It's more Forbort. That's the kind of mold that Peeke fits, and that's the role that he is called upon to fill here in Boston. Killing penalties, blocking shots, hitting guys, and making some clean zone exits to move the puck up to the more scoring proficient Bruins. He said of this past season, there were some days there were a lot of adversity, but looking back, and you can only make a positive out of it. It helped him grow as a person, as a hockey player. It helped him understand a lot of things in terms of what he has to do on a nightly basis. And he's excited about jumping in the mix for the Bruins. On Columbus, last season, he was a minus 41, which is, plus minus isn't exactly the be all and end all of. It's the bane of my existence recently because I had an up and down in my hockey pool. But a minus 41 still jumps off the page at you. It's not great. But his size, 6'3", 210, made him an appealing proposition for the Boston Bruins. Don Sweeney, general manager, said they feel good about what he brings. Confidence is the right word. The system structure is going to be the thing that they're going to hammer down in terms of getting him up to full speed. But they believe within the Bruins structure, he fits in well. They're comfortable that they'll be able to find a role for him and that he'll be able to buy in to what the Bruins are selling as well. 2 years ago, he was playing with Zach Werenski most nights for 20 minutes. And he had 2 goals, 13 assists for 15 points. He was only a minus 14, again, playing for the lowly Columbus Blue Jackets. He was drafted 34th overall by Columbus in 2016. So obviously there was some pedigree there. And they're banking on their more rigid zone defensive structure that will help him. Ty Anderson of 98.5 noted that of 325 NHL defensemen to play over 3,000 minutes over the last 3 seasons, Peeke ranks 6th in blocks per 60, and 35th in hits per 60. He sees himself as a big-bodied defenseman. He likes to play physical, work hard in the corners, battle and win those, use his feet to move the puck up the ice. Defending has always been one of his strongest suits, he believes, and it's something that he has taken pride in. He's heard about Boston a lot from Sean Kuraly, and has always heard good things. Took number 52 because that was Kuraly's number in Boston. Now, it's assumed that he's going to fight for regular minutes with Kevin Shattenkirk on Boston's third pairing. Obviously, they have Charlie McAvoy, Brandon Carlo as the top two guys at that position. And he's up to the task. Going from Columbus, no chance of playing past game 82. He now has an opportunity to be a part of a playoff team, and that's all you can ask for as a player, he believes. So where he fits into the lineup, it will be fighting with Shattenkirk for playing time on the third pairing. Obviously, they have some competition there in the bottom pairing. Right now, you can pencil in Hampus Lindholm, Matt Grzelcyk, Charlie McAvoy, and Brandon Carlo as your top four, but they're carrying four other defensemen as well right now in Parker Witherspoon, Mason Lohrei, Andrew Peeke, and Kevin Shattenkirk. And those four guys will, all get looks on the bottom pairing to see what the best mix is. Injuries will happen and so forth, but those four guys will have to fight it out and rotate in and out probably over the course of the remainder of the season to figure out who will be the bottom pairing in game one of the playoffs. Speaking of defense, the Bruins added some organizational depth there on Tuesday, and we'll discuss that signing here as the podcast continues. Baseball season is right around the corner, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel. You can also start to place your bets on your brackets for the big college tournament coming up later on this month. Whether you're betting on a big upset or on a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all. And again, not just for NCAA, but also NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball coming up soon as well. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. Yesterday, the Boston Bruins announced the signing of defenseman Drew Bavaro to a one-year entry-level contract with an NHL cap hit of $867,000, $500 as well. Bavaro will report to Providence on an ATO for the remainder of the 2023-24 season. He appeared in 35 games with the University of Notre Dame this season, 10 goals, 10 assists for 20 points. He ranked first in goals, third in assists, and tied for first in points among Notre Dame defensemen this season. In 2022-23, he appeared in 37 games with 6 goals, 13 assists for 19 points. He brings some size as well, 6'3", 202 pounds. He also spent 2 seasons at Bentley University, scoring 11 goals, adding 28 assists for 39 points in 52 games. He's a native of Lakewood Ranch, Florida. And again, the Bruins adding some depth here in the form of Drew Bavaro on the blue line. He will report to Providence for the remainder of the season. Bavaro also has some local connections. He spent the first 2 college seasons again at Bentley University. Before that, he played hockey at Lawrence Academy, a high school in Massachusetts, and Cardigan Mountain School in Caden, New Hampshire. He likely won't get a look with the Bruins this season, but he's a talented prospect that adds depth and future to the Bruins blue line. You can never have too much depth organizationally on defense. Another right shot defenseman with promise, and some good work here by Don Sweeney to add through the college ranks, which he has had success with recently. Georgi Merkulov as kind of the biggest recent example. What can we say about Bavaro? I'm excited to see what he brings to the organization. Dominic Tiano, who is plugged in with respect to prospects. He says, what are the Bruins getting? Well, defensively, he has an active stick, keeps his opponents contained with good gaps, effective at keeping plays to the outside, and is a superb shot blocker. Excellent size and strength. He can win battles in front of the net and along the walls. A very good skater with good edge work and mobility. Start the transition with a good pass, but has shown he can skate it out too. Offensively, he knows when to join the rush, has a superb shot from the point, good vision, but Dominic Tiano says, I don't think his hockey sense is at a level high enough to be consistent offensive option at the pro level. Nothing to prevent him from carving out a pro career as a defensive defenseman. Maybe his offense will translate. Only time will tell, but Dominic Tiano likes the signing. He did attend Senators development camp in 2023 and Detroit Red Wings in 2022, so he's been on some teams' radars here for some time. All right, that's it for today's episode of Locked On Boston Bruins, looking at where Pat Maroon, Andrew Peeke could fit into the lineup, a signing to discuss. And on tomorrow's episode, we'll be back with a look at the updated power rankings and also previewing tomorrow night's game against the Montreal Canadiens. I hope you're all doing well, taking care of yourselves. Shout out to my mom today. Won't get into the specifics, but please do keep her in your thoughts and send some positive vibes as she begins a health journey. Let's just say that. Love you, Mom. And talk to you again here tomorrow on Locked On Boston Bruins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your favorite team every single day.